All right, so Kate, Trump is spending the weekend in Scotland now, and protests have certainly followed him there. Tell us more about what's happening on the ground.
In Richard's report, the U.S. President left London yesterday evening to travel to Scotland, where he owns 2 golf resorts. There have been pictures of him playing around earlier today, something that we know he enjoys doing. And yes, the protests have followed him there. Certainly there has been an overwhelming swell of opposition across the country to the U.S. President's visit to the United Kingdom, and people have been out in Edinburgh, among other places in Scotland, protesting today. Certainly some large numbers there, but really nothing in comparison to the huge demonstrations we saw in London yesterday. Organisers say 250,000 people were out on the streets. Police put it at a slightly more modest number, saying around 100,000 people, but whichever way you look at it, it really was an overwhelming show of opposition. I was out with the protest all day yesterday, and people listing a litany of grievances against the U.S. President, his treatment of women, his policies, his views on immigration. People had a lot of complaints against him and felt a strong desire to come together and make their voices heard and make him know that despite British officials and the royal family have been rolling out the red carpet for him, the people on the street were not quite so welcoming.
And those are definitely some powerful pictures coming out of the UK there. Let's talk about Trump's unique style of diplomacy here as it relates to the UK. We heard him describe the UK-US relationship as being a high level of special. But is it really, and is it really after this particular visit?
That's a hard one to predict. As Richard said in his report, it has been a whirlwind of diplomacy that is so unique to Donald Trump and very difficult for analysts to predict what he actually means, because he is quite famous for changing his mind. As you said, he describes the US-UK relationship as being the highest level of special. Those are his words. But really, throughout his time in the UK, we saw him change his mind on a number of occasions. As Richard mentioned, that bombshell interview in The Sun in which he really insulted the British Prime Minister and the way she's handling the Brexit, and said that her approach could really the potential for a post-Brexit US-UK trade deal. And then just a matter of hours later, at a joint press conference, after having talks with her, he was saying it's all fake news. That's not what I said, despite the fact that that interview was recorded and people could hear quite clearly what he said. He was dismissing it as fake news, saying it wasn't true, and saying that he's perfectly happy for Theresa May to do whatever he wants, whatever she wants in terms of the Brexit, just as long as it means the US and the UK can continue trading together. From an analyst perspective, from policy experts, it's going to be very difficult to predict how this relationship plays out, because Trump is really the most unpredictable US president the country's ever had.
Absolutely. And will it mean a trade deal down the road between these two major countries and allies? All right, Kate Parkinson, live for us in London. Thank you so much.